Believing in yourself is the key to unlocking the life you want. It's not about luck or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about taking real steps every day to build your confidence and push forward, even when things feel uncertain or difficult. In this video, you'll discover 10 powerful ways to strengthen your belief in yourself and start achieving things you once thought were out of reach. These are simple but deep ideas that can change how you see yourself and what you're capable of doing. If you want to stop doubting your potential and start making real progress, stay with me. This is about giving you practical tools and honest encouragement to help you take control and create the life you want. The journey starts here, and it's one worth taking. Let's begin. Number 1. Start by keeping promises you make to yourself. This is where it all begins. The foundation of believing in yourself is simple. Keep your own word. When you tell yourself you're going to do something, do it. If you say you'll wake up at 6, then be up at 6. If you say you're going to exercise, then move your body. If you say you'll read 10 pages, then sit down and read 10 pages. Because every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you build something far more valuable than just discipline. You build trust with yourself. Most people break promises to themselves. So often they no longer take their own words seriously. They say things out loud or silently in their heads, like I'm going to eat better, or I'll stop scrolling all night. But then they don't, and they think it doesn't matter because no one else heard it. But it does matter, because you heard it. You were the one who said it. You were the one who walked away from that promise. And when you do that often enough, you lose belief. You lose respect. Not from others, from yourself. There's something powerful about a person who can depend on themselves. Think about it. If you had a friend who always canceled plans, showed up late, made promises and never kept them, would you trust them? Would you count on them? No. So why treat yourself that way? You've got to be someone you can rely on. When you say you'll do something, treat it like a contract. Your word has to mean something, especially to you. It doesn't matter how small the promise is. In fact, start small. Tell yourself you'll make your bed, and then do it. Tell yourself you'll drink 2 glasses of water before anything else in the morning, and then do it. Tell yourself you'll walk outside for 10 minutes today, and then do it. The size of the promise isn't the point. The point is keeping it. Because every time you do, you feel stronger. You feel a little more in control. A little more capable. That's where belief grows. Now don't aim for perfection. You're going to mess up. You're going to miss a few. That's okay. This isn't about being flawless. This is about being honest. If you mess up, admit it. Take responsibility. Don't make excuses. Say I said I would, and I didn't, and I don't want to live like that. That one moment of honesty can bring you right back. It resets the standard. It says I still take my word seriously, even when I fall short. Some people wait to feel confident before they take action. But that's backwards. Confidence doesn't come first. Action does. When you start doing what you say, even in small ways, you don't just feel more confident. You become someone you can believe in. And that's the real win here. Not just looking confident on the outside, but knowing deep down that you can count on yourself when it matters most. If you want to achieve cool things that matter to you, then you need to be solid. You need to have that inner strength that says, if I set my mind to it, I'll show up. I'll follow through. Because success isn't about magic. It's about showing up over and over. Even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one is watching. Every cool thing you want to do will ask something from you. It will ask for time. It will ask for effort. It will ask for sacrifice. And the only way you'll give those things is if you've trained yourself to follow through. That's what keeping promises to yourself does. It trains you to trust your own choices. It builds the muscle that says I'll do what's right, even when I don't feel like it. This isn't just about goals or motivation. This is about how you see yourself. Because when you keep letting yourself down, you start to see yourself as weak. You stop aiming high. You play small. You settle. But when you keep your own word, you walk differently. You carry yourself differently. There's a quiet strength that grows in you. You don't need to brag. You don't need to convince others. You just know deep inside that you're solid. People will try to give you advice. Some will try to tell you how to live, what to do, where to go. But the most important voice you'll ever hear is your own. And if that voice doesn't believe you, if you keep saying things and never doing them, then even the best advice won't matter. You won't listen. You'll think it's not possible for someone like you. But it is possible. You just have to earn back that belief. And the way to earn it is by doing what you said you would do. There's a quiet power in doing something every day simply because you said you would. No reward, no applause, no spotlight, just self-respect, just discipline, just the satisfaction of knowing you are living up to your own standard. And remember this, it's not just about action, it's about intention. You can't keep making promises you don't plan to keep. That destroys belief. Be honest with yourself. Don't say you'll do 5 things if you know you'll only do 1. Say 1 and do 1. Then tomorrow maybe 2. But always match your actions with your words. If you want to build belief, you don't need to shout it. You don't need to post it. Just live it. Do it quietly. Do it clearly. And over time, belief will catch up. Not because you forced it, but because you earned it. Everything begins here. If you want to create a better life, if you want to become someone you admire, if you want to do things that make you proud, when no one else understands it, all starts with keeping that very first promise, the one you made to yourself. Number 2, surround yourself with people who expect more from you. Who you spend time with is shaping your future even if you don't see it happening. The people closest to you have a quiet influence on your thinking, your habits, your standards, and how far you believe you can go. If you surround yourself with people who don't push themselves, who complain about everything, who make excuses every day, you'll slowly start lowering your own standards without even noticing it. You'll begin to think that average is okay, that it's normal to settle that. It's fine to stay in the same place for years, with no growth. But when you place yourself around people who aim higher, who are trying, who are building, who hold themselves to a higher standard, you feel it. You sense that energy. You sense that fire. They challenge you without even saying a word. Their actions wake something up in you. And suddenly, you're not okay with being stuck. You're not okay with giving half your effort. Being around people like that makes you look at yourself and ask if you're truly doing your best. It's not about finding perfect people. It's about surrounding yourself with people who won't let you make excuses. People who don't accept laziness as a personality trait. People who aren't impressed by talk, but only by action. You don't need many. Even one person who expects more from you can change your entire direction. That one person can make you see your weaknesses without putting you down. They can help you rise by showing you what it means to care more about progress than comfort. When you're around people who expect more from you, you begin to raise your standards. You notice where you've been settling. You see where you've been holding back. They won't have to criticize you. Their discipline will speak louder than any words. Their consistency will challenge your laziness. Their growth will make your excuses feel small. And that's a gift. That's not pressure. That's love, in a different form. That's what it means to care about someone's future more than their feelings. Most people avoid these kinds of people because it's uncomfortable. It forces them to admit they're not trying hard enough. But that discomfort is the beginning of transformation. If you stay around people who always agree with you, who never challenge you, who let you stay average, you will not grow. You may feel safe, but deep down you'll feel stuck. You'll feel a gap between who you are and who you know you could be. When someone sees more in you than you see in yourself, and they call it out, that's not judgment. That's belief. They're not attacking you, they're investing in you. And if you're wise, you won't run from it. You'll welcome it. You'll listen even if it stings. Because the people who expect more from you are often the ones who want the best for you. They're the ones who won't let you lie to yourself. They won't sit quietly while you waste your talent, your time, your life. If everyone around you is okay with you staying the same, something is off. If no one pushes you to do better or be better, you're in the wrong circle. Growth needs pressure. It needs friction. It needs people who are going somewhere and who want you to come with them. They don't want to leave you behind, but they won't stop for you either. You have to move. You have to grow. You have to choose to keep up. This is not about status or success or how much someone earns. It's about mindset. You need to be around people who think long-term, who are willing to struggle for what they want, who don't fold when life gets hard. These people are not rare, but you have to seek them out. You may have to distance yourself from old friends who no longer want to grow. That's hard, but it's necessary. Not because they're bad people, but because their expectations are too low for the life you want to live. You'll know you've found the right people when they don't let you complain for too long. When they listen but don't let you stay in self-pity. When they tell you the truth, even if it hurts, because they care about your results more than your comfort. These are the people who make you better just by being around them. You don't have to try to impress them. You just have to try. They respect effort. They notice consistency. And they remind you that doing your best matters, even when no one is watching. Sometimes the people who expect more from you are not loud. They don't yell or lecture. They just live well. They live with intention. And by watching them, you start to question how you live. That kind of example can do more for your growth than any speech or book. It shows you that it's possible to be strong without being harsh, disciplined, without being cold, kind, without being weak. If you feel like giving up and someone in your life says, keep going, that's love. If you start slacking and someone says you're better than this, that's respect. If you're playing small and someone says you've got more in you, that's belief. Don't push those people away. Don't get defensive. Listen, learn. Let it shift you. Let it wake you up. You don't need fans. You need friends who won't let you stay stuck. It might hurt when they tell you the truth, but the hurt fades and the strength stays. Weak people will comfort you in your excuses, but strong people will challenge you into your potential. And if you want to do great things, you need strength more than sympathy. The people in your life either stretch you or shrink you. They either light a fire in you or they drain your energy. You have to choose who gets to be close. You have to protect your drive, your ambition, your focus. And the best way to protect those things is by choosing to walk with people who are walking forward. People who are not perfect but committed. People who expect more from you, not because they think you're not enough, but because they know you're capable of more than you think. Number 3, write down what you want, then read it every day. Most people don't have a clear idea of what they want. They think they do, but when you ask them, they talk in circles. They say things like, I just want to be happy, or I want more out of life. But that's not specific. That's not something your mind can grab onto. If you want to believe in yourself, if you want to move towards something meaningful, you have to write it down in detail. You need to see it on paper, black and white. No confusion, no guesswork. Writing it down is more than a task. It's a commitment. It forces you to get clear. It pulls your vision out of your head and makes it real in front of you. Once it's written, you can't pretend you don't know what you want. You can't act like you're lost. That piece of paper becomes your mirror. And the more specific you are, the more powerful that mirror becomes. People walk through life hoping things will change without ever deciding what they're aiming for. They wait. They wish. But they don't direct. Writing down what you want is how you take control. It's how you say to yourself, this is what I'm building. This is where I'm going. You take something invisible and make it visible. And once it's visible, You can start to align your time, your energy, your thoughts around it. It's not just about big goals either. It can be anything you care about. You can write down that you want to have stronger discipline, or that you want to build a business, or repair a broken relationship, or gain 10 pounds of muscle, or sleep better, or earn your first $1,000 from your own work. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you decide and you write it down. Once it's on paper, you don't just tuck it away in a drawer. You read it every day. You go over it when you wake up and before you go to bed. That repetition is what starts to change you. It's what helps the idea sink in. The more you read it, the more you feel connected to it. The more it starts to feel possible. Because the truth is, you move toward what you focus on. You act on what you think about most. When you read your goals daily, you start to shift your behavior without even realizing it. You begin saying no to things that don't match your direction. You start catching yourself in moments of laziness because that reminder is fresh in your mind. You make better choices, not because someone told you to, but because your goal is louder than your excuses. You begin to train your mind to look for opportunities that align with your vision. You become more alert. You notice the right conversations. You remember to follow through. That daily review keeps you centered. It helps you reset your focus before the distractions of the world pull you off course. There's something about putting your goals in your own handwriting that adds weight. Typing is fine, but writing is personal. It's raw. It's real. Your own words, shaped by your own hand, carry more meaning than a list on a screen. They're not just thoughts, they're declarations. And the more you read them, the more you believe them. Writing and reading your goals daily is also how you stay patient. Because the truth is, results don't happen right away. You'll have days where nothing feels like it's working. Days where progress is slow. Days where your old habits show up again. But that piece of paper will remind you why you started. It will speak to you when motivation is low. It will pull you back when distractions show up. Most people set goals once, maybe at the beginning of the year, then forget them. That's not enough. You can't expect to achieve something you only think about once in a while. Your goals need your attention every day. You have to stay connected to them. You have to keep your direction in sight. Reading your goals daily doesn't take long, just a few minutes. But those few minutes can shape your entire day. They set your tone. They protect your energy. They give your time purpose. Without that, it's easy to drift. It's easy to fill your schedule with things that don't matter. You stay busy, but you don't move forward. But with a clear goal in front of you, every morning, you act differently. You start the day knowing where you're going, and your goals will change. That's normal. As you grow, as you learn, your direction may shift. That's a sign you're alive and evolving. When it happens, you write again, you refine, you adjust. But you don't stop writing. You don't stop reviewing. You stay in touch with your purpose. Because belief doesn't just show up. It's built, day by day. There's power in seeing the same words every day. They become part of your identity. At first, it may feel forced. You may not believe everything you wrote. But if you keep reading them, if you keep showing up, something inside you begins to shift. You go from "I want this" to "I can do this" to "This is who I am." If you're serious about achieving anything meaningful, you cannot leave your goals in your head. You have to give them form. You have to make them part of your life, not in theory, but in practice. When you take the time to write them down and revisit them daily, you create structure, you create clarity. And with clarity, belief starts to grow. Not because someone else told you it's possible, but because you told yourself, and you keep telling yourself until it becomes real. Number 4, look at the progress, not just the gaps. One of the biggest reasons people lose belief in themselves is because they only focus on what's missing. They measure how far they still have to go, but ignore how far they've already come. They hold up the picture of their ideal life and compare it to where they are now, and they feel disappointed. But belief doesn't grow when all you do is notice the distance. It grows when you start paying attention to your own movement forward. Progress is not always loud. It's not always dramatic. But it matters. Maybe today you made a better decision than yesterday. That's progress. Maybe you followed through on a task instead of quitting halfway. That's progress. Maybe you said no to something that used to pull you off track. That's real, that's movement. That's something to hold on to. You can't wait until the finish line to feel proud. You have to learn how to respect the small steps. Most people never feel good enough because they've trained their minds to only notice what's not there. They see their flaws. They see their mistakes. They see what they haven't done yet. But they never stop to acknowledge that they're showing up, that they're trying, that they've changed in ways their old self would be proud of. And if you never give yourself credit, you will burn out. You will start to believe that no matter what you do, it's not enough. That kind of thinking destroys momentum. It kills confidence. Looking at your progress doesn't mean you're settling. It doesn't mean you've arrived. It means you understand that growth is a journey. And if you're on that journey, you're already winning. Think about where you were a year ago, or even 6 months ago. Are you more aware now? Are you handling situations better? Are you thinking differently? Are you making more intentional choices? If the answer is yes to any of that, you've progressed. You can't build belief if you're blind to your own improvement. You have to start tracking your wins, no matter how small. Did you wake up early and not hit snooze? Write it down. Did you finish a workout when you felt like stopping? That matters. Did you stay focused when you used to get distracted? That's growth. These moments are what build internal trust. And trust in yourself is the foundation for belief. The problem is we live in a world that only celebrates big outcomes. The promotion, the transformation, the highlight reel. But real life is built in the quiet moments that no one claps for. Real progress is slow. It's often invisible, and that's why you have to be the one to notice it. You can't wait for someone else to tell you you're improving. You have to learn how to see it for yourself. When you constantly look at the gap between where you are and where you want to be, you feel defeated. But when you look at the gains, the steps you've taken, the choices you've made, the lessons you've learned, you feel empowered. That shift in focus can change everything. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about recognizing the full picture. If you only look forward, you'll always feel behind. But if you also look back, even briefly, you'll see you're not standing still. You're moving. You're doing the work. And that matters more than perfection, because belief is built on evidence. And the best evidence you have is your own consistent effort. No one else can give that to you. Some people wait until they reach a goal to allow themselves to feel confident. But that's backward. Confidence grows when you start to notice that you're no longer who you used to be. That's where the shift begins. When you realize that you're not repeating the same patterns, that you're handling things with more maturity, that you're choosing better over easier. That's progress. That's a sign you're growing. Looking at progress doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. Because it reminds you that you're capable of change. It reminds you that you're not stuck. It shows you that even on days where you felt like quitting, you didn't. That matters. That counts. Every small step is a quiet victory. And when you learn how to stack those victories, you start to feel unstoppable. You don't have to pretend everything is perfect. You don't have to deny that there's more work to do. But you also don't have to beat yourself up every day. Growth is not just about fixing everything that's broken. It's also about nurturing what's already better. You have to learn how to see your progress with clear eyes and a strong heart. Not through the lens of what's missing, but through the truth of what's already shifting. Most of the time, the difference between someone who keeps going and someone who quits is how they see their own effort. If you believe you're making progress, you keep showing up. If you think nothing's working, you give up. That's why it's essential to track your steps, to reflect, to pause and take inventory. Not to boast, not to be arrogant, but to remind yourself that change is happening. Even if it's slow, this kind of thinking isn't about being soft. It's about being fair. It's about being honest with yourself. You're not the same person who started. You've learned things. You've overcome things. You've shown up on days when you didn't feel like it. That matters more than any number or milestone. The person who keeps showing up, even when no one's watching, is the person who will go the farthest. You can still chase your goals with urgency and hunger, and at the same time, honor the steps you've already taken. That's not a contradiction. That's the mindset of someone who lasts. You don't burn out as easily when you recognize your own effort. You don't give up as quickly when you see how far you've come. That balance between the hunger to grow and the appreciation for how far you've come, that's what builds unstoppable belief. Number 5. Take one small win and build on it. Every breakthrough starts with something small. Not with a perfect plan or a big announcement, but with one honest effort that turns into something real. If you're struggling to believe in yourself, don't wait for some grand achievement to rescue your confidence. Start with one small win. One thing you can complete, one task you can follow through on. Just one. When you finish it, take a breath and let that be proof that you're capable of showing up. You don't need to fix your whole life in a day. You just need one solid action that you can say, I did that. Because once you have that, now you've got something to work with, something to grow from, something that belongs to you. That small win isn't random. It's earned. It's yours. And that ownership begins to shift your thinking. You start to realize you can make progress even if you don't have everything figured out yet. It might be waking up on time, or drinking a full glass of water instead of skipping breakfast, or finally starting that 5-minute walk you've been putting off for a week. It doesn't need to impress anyone. It doesn't need to go on social media. It just needs to be real. Something that you commit to and finish. That's where belief begins to breathe. Not in talking about change, but in doing something, however small, that points you in the right direction. Most people don't follow through because they aim too big at first. They try to change everything in one weekend. They pile on expectations, then crash under the weight of them. But if you take one small win and build on it, you create a foundation that actually lasts. You show your mind and body that action is possible. And when something feels possible, it becomes easier to repeat. That repetition creates momentum. Now your win becomes a habit, not just a one-time thing, but a pattern you can rely on. You stop relying on motivation and you start building structure. And once you've got structure, belief grows naturally. Because you're not hoping for discipline, you're training it. Each small win, no matter how ordinary, matters more than you think. It's not just about what you did. It's about what it represents. That you didn't give in. That you showed up. That you kept your word. That you made a decision and followed through. That's not small. That's strength in action. That's a shift in identity. And once you see yourself as someone who can do the small things, it's only a matter of time before you tackle the big one. But it starts with showing yourself that action is always an option. That even when the day feels heavy, you can still make one strong choice. That builds inner power. Not loud, not flashy, but solid. This is how belief becomes durable. Not from hype or speeches, but from consistent proof. When you look back at your day and see that you honored one task, you begin to trust yourself again. That trust is what drives real growth. Not pressure, not guilt, just trust one step at a time. Maybe your small win today is speaking up when you usually stay quiet. Maybe it's turning off distractions and finishing something important. Maybe it's eating one clean meal or choosing a better thought instead of spiraling. Every one of these choices counts, and if you treat them like they matter, they'll start to multiply. That's the power of compounding action. One win turns into two, two turns into a pattern. And that pattern begins to change how you see yourself. You're no longer just someone trying to change. You become someone who follows through. That identity shift is everything. You don't need to wait until you're confident to take action. You take action, and confidence follows. That's the rhythm of real progress. Action first. Feeling second. You don't wait for belief. You build it. You shape it through effort. You prove it with consistency. Believing in yourself doesn't require perfection. It requires motion. Forward movement. Even if it's slow. Even if it's messy. Small wins are your evidence that change is working. That you're not stuck. That effort matters. Sometimes the world doesn't notice your wins. That's fine. They don't need to. You're not building this for applause. You're building it because you want to live better. You want to be the kind of person who follows through, who keeps promises, who doesn't give up after one bad day. That's what small wins help you become. You'll have days where you slip. That's human. What matters is whether you still look for that next small win. Because the win doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. You can build belief right in the middle of doubt. You can build strength right in the middle of struggle. All you need is one honest win, and the courage to build on it again tomorrow. Each time you stack another win, no matter how small, you strengthen your foundation. Your actions start to align. Your choices start to make sense. The fog begins to lift, and you begin to see what's possible. Not someday, but right now. In this moment. With what you have. You don't need a perfect plan. You need one small decision, followed by another. And if you keep going, that string of simple wins becomes a path. That path becomes your life. And that life becomes proof that believing in yourself wasn't a fantasy. It was a process that started the moment you said, "This matters and I'm doing it." Then you did. And then you did. Again. Number 6, stop explaining yourself to people who don't matter. One of the most draining habits we fall into is trying to justify our choices to people who were never meant to understand us. Not everyone will get your vision. Not everyone will support your goals. Some people will question your decisions, not because they care, but because your growth threatens their comfort. You do not need to spend your energy explaining your heart to someone who never took the time to understand your values. You don't owe your peace of mind to those who never earned your trust. The truth is, not everyone's opinion should carry weight in your life. The moment you begin building something real, a new habit, a new goal, a better way of living, you will encounter people who don't see what you see. They'll try to talk you out of it. Not because they know better, but because your effort reminds them of what they're not doing. You're not here to convince them. You're not here to shrink just to make them comfortable. Your responsibility is to your own growth, not to their approval. You can care about people and still protect your mission. Every time you over-explain yourself, you hand a little piece of your power away. You're not required to tell someone why you need rest. You're not required to justify why you're saying no. You're allowed to make choices that support your future without turning your life into a courtroom. You don't need to perform. You don't need to be understood by people who've never walked your path. The more you learn to be okay with that, the more free you become. You have a limited amount of energy each day. That energy should go toward building something meaningful, not putting out fires started by someone else's opinion. You don't need to explain why you're waking up early. You don't need to explain why you're focusing on your health. You don't need to explain why you're stepping away from distractions or toxic conversations. That's your call. That's your life. And you're allowed to protect it. It's not about being rude. It's about being intentional. You can walk away from noise without guilt. You can set boundaries without apology. People who truly respect you won't demand explanations for everything. They'll see your actions, and even if they don't understand them fully, they'll trust your reasons. That's the difference between people who belong in your circle and people who don't. When you stop explaining yourself to the wrong people, you create space for the right people to show up. People who celebrate your progress instead of questioning it. People who ask how they can support you instead of pulling you back. People who see your effort and encourage you to keep going. That kind of support doesn't require long speeches. It requires honesty and alignment. And when you find it, it strengthens you. Too often we waste precious time rehearsing conversations that don't need to happen. We anticipate judgment. We prepare defenses. All that preparation does is keep you in a loop of fear. Instead of building the next step in your journey, you're managing other people's reactions. That's not how belief grows. Belief grows when you stay grounded in your own truth, regardless of who understands. You do not need everyone to clap for you. You need to respect yourself enough to move forward without needing a crowd. Every time you hold back because of someone's doubt, you delay your own progress. Every time you seek permission from people who don't support you, you pause your own power. The real question isn't whether others get it. The real question is whether you're willing to stand firm, even when they don't. You don't need to cut everyone out of your life, but you do need to stop opening your mind to those who only want to tear it down. You can protect your vision without becoming cold. You can choose who gets access to your time and your energy. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table, especially those who don't bring any respect or care with them. When you stop explaining yourself to people who don't matter, you stop second-guessing your growth. You begin to trust your own direction. You give yourself room to try, to fail, to adjust, and to keep moving, all without the weight of trying to keep everyone else comfortable. That's what freedom looks like. It's quiet. It's focused. It's steady. The people who judge your progress are often the ones who aren't making any. Remember that. They'll criticize your hustle while sitting still. They'll mock your discipline while avoiding their own. If you're not careful, you'll start taking advice from people who've never done what you're trying to do. Don't let that happen. Listen carefully to who's speaking into your life. Are they building anything? Are they living with purpose? If not, their opinions have no place in your inner world. Your mission is not up for public debate. Your priorities are not a community project. You get to decide what matters to you. You get to invest in what lifts you up. And you get to do that without sending out a newsletter to everyone explaining your every move. You don't owe them that. What you owe yourself is progress. What you owe yourself is clarity. What you owe yourself is peace. Every minute you spend trying to prove yourself to people who don't care is a minute you could have spent becoming stronger, more grounded, more focused. Take that time back. Pour it into your health. Pour it into your dreams. Pour it into something that lasts. Because when you stop trying to be understood by everyone, you finally begin to understand yourself. The ones who truly care won't demand constant explanations. They'll support you even when they don't get it yet. And you'll know the difference because you'll feel it. You'll feel safe. You'll feel sane. And you'll have more energy to keep becoming who you were meant to be. Number 7, feed your mind more than you feed your doubts. It's every day your mind is being filled with something. It's either filled with thoughts that build you or ones that tear you down. You've got to take control of that. The mind doesn't stay empty. It picks up whatever you allow in. If you leave it alone, it collects dust. Negative thoughts, fears, old memories, and every doubt you've ever carried. But when you intentionally feed your mind with new ideas, new truths, and new direction, you crowd out the noise. The more you feed your mind, the less room doubt has to sit there and grow. Doubt gets stronger when it's fed with silence and fear. When you sit with it, entertain it, believe it, you give it more ground to stand on. And before you know it, it becomes your voice. But that voice isn't based on truth. It's based on insecurity and hesitation. And the only way to deal with it is to start pouring something stronger into your thinking. The mind works like a sponge. It absorbs what you give it. Fill it with learning. Fill it with growth. Fill it with confidence. Every time you read something that challenges you, you sharpen your thinking. Every time you hear someone speak truth into their life, and you take it in, you change a piece of how you think. You don't have to believe everything your doubt tells you. Just because a fearful thought shows up, doesn't mean it deserves your attention. Doubt will always knock. That's not the problem. The problem is, when you open the door and offer it a seat, you've got to get stronger than that voice. And strength doesn't come from wishing it away. It comes from input. What are you reading? Who are you listening to? What kind of thoughts are you rehearsing? Every input becomes a part of your internal dialogue. The more positive the input, the more stable the mind becomes. This is why daily feeding matters. Not once a month, not when things fall apart. Every single day. Your body needs food daily. Your mind needs strength daily. When you don't give it healthy material, it falls back into old loops. That's when the doubt creeps in. And suddenly, things that used to inspire you now feel impossible. The way you beat that is through discipline. Read something meaningful before the world gets loud. Listen to someone who challenges your thinking. Take time to reflect on ideas that stretch you. These little practices make a massive difference over time. A weak mind gives up easily. It looks for excuses. It stops before it starts. But a strong mind keeps pushing. It sees setbacks as temporary. It holds on when others quit. You build that kind of strength the same way you build muscle. By feeding it and training it. Think about how much time you spend consuming junk. Scrolling endlessly. Absorbing noise that adds nothing to your life. That same time could be feeding you with something real. A book that shifts your perspective. A story that reminds you what's possible. A moment of stillness to focus your thoughts. These are not luxuries. These are necessary. Don't wait until you feel like it. That's how doubt wins. Do it even when it's hard. Do it especially when it's hard. The more you show up for your mind, the more it will show up for you. When pressure comes, your thoughts will either support you or sabotage you. And that depends on what you've been feeding them. You wouldn't expect your body to function well after a week of junk food. Why expect your mind to function after a week of negativity? The real battle is always internal. You don't lose because someone else doubted you. You lose when you agree with that doubt. You feed your doubts every time you replay worst-case scenarios. You feed them every time you compare yourself to someone else and shrink. You feed them when you let fear decide your next move. But you feed your mind every time you take a deep breath and remind yourself what you're capable of. Every time you take action, even when you're unsure. Every time you choose growth over comfort. You have a choice each day to let your mind be shaped by default or by design. Default thinking leads to fear. Design thinking leads to progress. If you want to believe in yourself more, you need to be intentional about what you let influence your beliefs. Start your day with something that fills you. Return to it when you feel shaken. End your day with reflection, not regret. You don't need hours. You need intention. Even 10 minutes of focused input can shift your entire mindset. Some people wait for motivation to find them. But motivation is not a guest. It's something you build. And you build it by feeding your thoughts with truth, discipline, and vision. The world will feed you fear if you let it. But you don't have to take every meal it offers. You can choose what to accept. You can choose what stays. And you can absolutely choose what gets to grow in your mind. If you don't believe in yourself right now, that's not permanent. That's not who you are. That's simply a sign that your mind is hungry for something stronger. Feed it. Feed it consistently. Feed it with people who lift you, with content that inspires you, with thoughts that remind you how far you've come. When your doubts speak loud, don't argue with them. Overpower them. Give your mind something so solid, so steady, that your doubts have no room left. You don't need to silence every fear to take action. You just need to make sure your faith is louder than your fear. That's what feeding your mind does. It raises the volume on belief. It turns the light back on when things feel dark. It reminds you who you really are when doubt starts rewriting your identity. That strength is built daily, quietly, deliberately. And with every new day, you get another shot to grow it stronger. Number 8, set standards that force you to level up. Every achievement begins with a standard you refuse to lower. If you want to believe in yourself and do cool things, you have to set rules for yourself that push beyond what you've done before. These aren't just casual goals. These are firm expectations you make with yourself that demand growth. When standards are weak, progress is slow. When standards are high, you are forced to change. That pressure, that challenge, it's exactly what makes you stronger. It's the difference between staying where you are and moving up to something better. Think about what you accept right now in your life. Are you okay with average work? Are you settling for excuses? Are you letting comfort zones keep you stuck? You need to set the bar where it challenges you, where you can't reach it by doing the same old things. It's like a personal contract with yourself, a silent promise that you will not accept anything less than the next level. That doesn't mean you won't fail. It means you won't stop trying because you have a higher expectation. The power of strong standards is that they create momentum. When you tell yourself, I'm going to deliver better work today than yesterday, you begin to look for ways to improve. You become more aware of your habits, your time, and your focus. Suddenly, distractions lose their power because you know you have a commitment. Standards give your choices weight. They make the difference between drifting through the day and deliberately shaping it. This kind of thinking forces you to stretch. When the standard is set too low, nothing in your life forces you to grow, but when it's set just beyond what you think you can do, it activates your potential. It's a challenge, but one you can meet with effort and discipline. You'll discover strength you didn't know you had. When you look back, you realize you didn't just meet that standard. You exceeded it. That feeling is powerful. It creates belief in yourself that's real and lasting. Setting high standards also filters your environment. You'll find that some habits, relationships, and activities no longer fit your new level. And that's okay. Growth often means change. It means letting go of what held you back so you can make room for something better. People who don't understand your new standards might question you or even try to pull you back. You have to be ready for that. Your standards aren't just for you. They send a message to the world about who you are becoming. It's easy to think that standards are about perfection, but they're not. They're about consistent improvement. A standard might be, I will wake up on time every day, or I will read for 30 minutes daily. It doesn't have to be big to make a difference. What matters is that it stretches your habit. When small standards build up, they create a foundation for bigger changes. Each time you meet a standard, your confidence grows. You start to believe in your ability to keep raising the bar. There will be times when meeting your standards feels hard, when distractions are loud, or when you're tired and want to quit. That's when your commitment is tested. But sticking to your standards in those moments builds character. It teaches you that you don't have to wait for motivation or mood to act. You do it because you've set a rule for yourself. And living by that rule, day after day, creates discipline. Discipline is the engine that drives every success story. You also begin to see life differently. Instead of waiting for something outside to change, you understand that change starts with you. You have the power to decide how high your standards go. You realize that leveling up is your responsibility, not someone else's. That shift in thinking frees you from blaming others or circumstances. It puts control back in your hands, and control is where true confidence lives. One of the hardest parts of setting higher standards is being honest with yourself. It takes courage to admit where you're falling short. But that honesty is necessary. Without it, you can't grow. Once you know where you are, you can decide where you want to be. That gap between today and tomorrow becomes the fuel for your progress. Every small step forward is a win. You don't have to conquer everything at once. Just set a standard for today and work toward it. Another important point is to regularly review your standards. Life changes, and so do your goals. What was a challenge last year might be easy now. That's a sign. It's time to raise the bar again. Growth is ongoing. You can't stop setting new standards, or you risk slipping back into old habits. Challenge yourself to be uncomfortable, because comfort keeps you stuck. When you push beyond what's easy, you discover what you're really capable of. Your standards also shape how others see you. When you consistently hold yourself to a high level, people notice. They start to expect more from you too. That's a powerful cycle. The higher your standards, the more respect you earn. That respect can open doors and create opportunities you didn't have before. It shows others that you are serious about your goals. It gives your actions weight. You are no longer a bystander in your life. You are a leader. It's normal to feel resistance when you raise your standards. The mind doesn't like change. It tries to pull you back to what's safe. But you have to push through that discomfort. Think about the feeling of accomplishment after meeting a tough standard. That feeling is proof you're moving in the right direction. It's a sign you're leveling up in life. And with each new level, your belief in yourself grows stronger. You become unstoppable. Setting standards is a way of loving yourself enough to demand better. It's not about being harsh. It's about respect. Respect for your potential, and respect for what you deserve. When you set a standard, you send a message to yourself that you matter. You are worth the effort. You are worth the growth. You are worth every cool thing you want to achieve. No one else can set those standards for you. It's your job to decide what level of life you want to live. You have the power to make today different. You can set a new standard right now that changes your path. It starts with a decision, not with permission from anyone else. The best time to raise your standards is today. And when you do, you will notice something powerful. Your confidence begins to rise naturally. Because you are doing what it takes. You are showing up for yourself. And that is how you believe in yourself and achieve cool things. Number 9. Do the hard things even when you're afraid. Fear is a natural part of being human. It creeps in quietly and can stop us before we even start. The truth is that the things worth doing are often the ones that make your heart race and your hands sweat. The hardest tasks, the biggest challenges, they come with fear attached. But the secret to believing in yourself and achieving something meaningful is doing those hard things even when you feel afraid. Because courage isn't about the absence of fear, it's about taking action despite it. When you face fear, it's important to recognize what it really is. Fear shows up as doubt, hesitation, or the voice telling you it's safer to stay where you are. It's uncomfortable and loud. But that discomfort means you are about to grow. Growth never happens in comfort. When you choose to act anyway, you build trust in yourself. You prove that fear does not control your decisions. This builds a foundation for confidence that no one can take away. Everyone feels fear at some point. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they respond to it. Some let it freeze them, waiting for a safer moment that may never come. Others use fear as a signal. When fear appears, they know they are on the edge of something important. Instead of stepping back, they lean in. They push through the fear because they understand that what's on the other side is worth the discomfort. It's easy to talk about doing hard things, but the reality is tough. Fear can paralyze. It makes your mind focus on what could go wrong instead of what could go right. It makes you question if you're good enough, if you have what it takes. These doubts are normal. Everyone hears those voices. The key is to not listen to them more than you listen to your goals and dreams. Remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself of the value in facing your fears head on. Action is the antidote to fear. When you start moving, fear loses its power. It shrinks with every step forward. You may not feel brave in the moment, but courage grows through experience. Each time you do something hard, you build a muscle of bravery. It becomes easier next time, and that momentum carries you forward. Fear may never disappear completely, but it stops controlling your life. Doing hard things when afraid also means accepting that failure is part of the process. Fear often comes from the risk of failing, but failure is not the end. It's feedback. It teaches you what doesn't work, so you can find what does. People who achieve great things don't get there by avoiding mistakes. They get there by learning from every setback. Fear of failure only holds you back if you let it. Choose to see failure as a step forward, not a step back. Sometimes doing hard things means having difficult conversations, making sacrifices, or standing alone in your beliefs. These moments are uncomfortable and scary. It's natural to want to avoid conflict or judgment, but courage is showing up even when you know not everyone will agree with you. It's standing tall in your truth. The reward is the freedom to be yourself and the opportunity to create the life you want. When fear comes, focus on what you can control. You can control your effort, your attitude, and your persistence. You cannot control the outcome, but you can control how you prepare and how you respond. This mindset shifts your energy from worry to action. You start to see challenges as opportunities to prove your strength, not threats to your safety. This shift is powerful. It changes the way you live every day. It's helpful to break the hard things into smaller parts. Sometimes the idea of one big challenge is overwhelming, but when you divide it into steps, it becomes manageable. Each small step builds confidence. Each completed part reduces fear. You build a track record of success, even if it's small. That track record becomes evidence you can trust when bigger challenges come. Remember that no one has it all figured out. The people you admire, who seem confident and successful, have faced fear too. They didn't wait for fear to disappear before they acted. They moved forward with uncertainty, made mistakes, learned, and kept going. You are no different. You have the same ability to face fear and choose action. Surround yourself with support that encourages bravery. When you are trying to do hard things, having people who believe in you makes a difference. They remind you of your strength when your own mind doubts it. They celebrate your wins and help you learn from setbacks. Support creates a safety net that makes fear less intimidating. When fear hits, pay attention to your body. Notice how your heart beats faster, your stomach tightens, or your breath shortens. These are signs your mind and body are preparing for something important. Instead of fighting these feelings, acknowledge them. Tell yourself that this is normal. Use deep breaths to calm your nervous system. This simple act helps you stay focused and steady. It's important to reflect on why you want to do the hard things in the first place. Connect with your purpose. What is driving you? What dream are you chasing? When fear threatens to stop you, reconnecting with your purpose gives you fuel to keep going. It reminds you that the discomfort is temporary, but the reward is lasting. Taking action despite fear is a skill you can develop. It doesn't happen overnight. It grows through practice and patience. Each day offers a chance to practice courage. It might be speaking up, trying something new, or making a decision you've been avoiding. When you build this habit, fear loses control over your life. In the moments of fear, focus on what you want, not what you're afraid of losing. Fear narrows your vision to risk and failure, but your dreams expand your vision to possibilities and success. Keep your eyes on what you want to achieve. Let that vision be stronger than your fear. Fear can feel isolating, but you are not alone in this experience. Everyone wrestles with it. The difference is what you do with that fear. Choosing to act in spite of it is what sets you apart. It proves that you believe in yourself more than you believe in fear. That belief is what leads to cool things. That belief opens doors you didn't even know existed. You will find that doing hard things when afraid is not only about reaching a goal. It changes how you see yourself. You become someone who faces life fully. Someone who refuses to be controlled by fear. Someone who takes charge of their story. This transformation is the foundation of true confidence. Each time you choose courage, you grow stronger. Each time you do what's difficult, you create proof that you can handle whatever comes next. This proof is what builds a deep and lasting belief in yourself. This belief fuels every cool thing you want to do. It's the force that moves you from dreaming to doing. Fear is a companion on the journey, not the enemy. It signals growth and change. Learning to work with fear rather than fight it makes you unstoppable. It teaches you resilience and courage. It shows you that you are bigger than any obstacle. Choosing to do the hard things anyway is the key to unlocking your full potential and creating a life filled with achievement and meaning. Number 10, track your growth so you remember you're not the same person anymore. Tracking your growth is one of the most powerful ways to believe in yourself. When you pay close attention to how far you've come, it changes your entire perspective. Growth is often slow and subtle. Day by day, it might feel like nothing is happening. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, the difference is clear. Writing down your progress or keeping a record reminds you that you're not stuck. You are moving forward. You are evolving. The person you are today is not the person you were months or years ago. Often, people lose confidence because they forget to recognize their own progress. They compare themselves to others or focus too much on what they haven't done yet. This comparison steals joy and causes frustration. But tracking growth turns your attention back to your journey. It highlights the effort you put in, the lessons learned, and the obstacles overcome. This act of noticing your own development fuels motivation and builds a sense of accomplishment. It's a direct reminder that you are capable of change. When you track growth, you create a tangible story of your transformation. This story is not just about achievements, but also about perseverance, mindset shifts, and moments when you chose to keep going. These small victories might seem invisible on some days, but when recorded, they become proof that you are resilient, that you take steps forward even when it feels difficult. This proof strengthens your belief in yourself because it is based on real evidence, not just hopes or wishes. There are many ways to track your growth. You might keep a journal, write weekly reflections, or use apps that help you log progress. What matters is the regular habit of checking in with yourself. This practice creates awareness. It forces you to slow down and acknowledge your journey. When you see patterns of improvement, it encourages you to keep investing in your development. It also helps identify areas that need more attention. This clarity is essential because it prevents you from feeling lost or stuck. Tracking growth makes it easier to celebrate wins. Sometimes people discount their progress because it's not huge or flashy. But every step counts. Each new skill learned, every bad habit dropped, or any challenge faced head-on is a win. Writing these down lets you celebrate consistently. This celebration builds momentum. It becomes a positive cycle where success leads to more confidence, and confidence leads to more action. When you take the time to honor your journey, you build a foundation of self-respect and belief. Noticing growth changes the way you handle setback. Instead of seeing failure as a full stop, you start to see it as part of a longer journey. You can reflect on what happened, learn from it, and move forward. This perspective shifts your focus from frustration to learning. When you know you are evolving, failure becomes less frightening. It's just a moment in a bigger story of progress. This shift is important because it helps you stay motivated when times get tough. When you track growth, you begin to notice how your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors have changed. Maybe you used to doubt yourself often, and now you catch yourself thinking differently. Maybe you used to avoid challenges, but now you face them with more courage. These internal changes are huge. They show that belief in yourself isn't just about external accomplishments, but also about the way you see yourself. Seeing these internal shifts builds deeper confidence that lasts. Sometimes progress feels slow or invisible because it's happening on the inside. Tracking your growth helps you see that invisible work. Writing down feelings, thoughts, or lessons learned uncovers the subtle changes. These changes might include becoming more patient, gaining clarity, or developing resilience. Without tracking, it's easy to overlook these important shifts. Recognizing them helps you understand that growth isn't always about big wins, but also about steady improvement in who you are. Tracking your growth also encourages responsibility. When you document what you've done and where you want to go, it creates accountability. You are less likely to give up because you can see your own commitment in black and white. This accountability acts like a friend who reminds you of your potential. It encourages you to keep pushing forward even when motivation fades. Over time, this discipline turns into confidence because you know you can count on yourself. Another benefit of tracking growth is that it sharpens your focus. When you reflect on your progress, you start to notice what works and what doesn't. This insight lets you adjust your actions to be more effective. It stops you from wasting time on habits or strategies that don't help you move forward. Staying focused on what leads to real growth saves energy and builds momentum. This efficiency gives you more confidence because you are moving in the right direction with purpose. When you look back on your tracked growth, you see patterns of success. These patterns build a blueprint for future achievement. You learn what environments, habits, and attitudes support your progress. This knowledge becomes a powerful tool. It allows you to create conditions that encourage belief in yourself and the ability to achieve. Having this roadmap reduces uncertainty and increases your chances of success. Growth tracking makes your dreams feel more achievable. When your goals seem far away, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or discouraged. But seeing progress in smaller steps breaks down the big picture into manageable pieces. This makes your dreams feel closer and more real. The regular reminders of how you are changing build a strong connection to your goals. This connection motivates consistent effort and builds self-trust. Tracking growth is also a way of honoring your hard work. Sometimes we forget to recognize the effort that goes into change. It's easy to focus on results alone, but effort is where belief in yourself starts. When you honor your effort by tracking it, you reinforce the idea that you are committed. You learn to appreciate your own persistence. This appreciation strengthens your identity as someone who follows through and grows. Looking at your growth over time shifts your mindset from fixed to growth. Instead of believing you are stuck with certain abilities or limitations, you begin to see potential everywhere. This mindset fuels curiosity and openness to learning. It encourages you to take risks and embrace challenges. Knowing that growth is possible gives you confidence to try new things. This mindset creates a powerful cycle of improvement and belief. Tracking growth makes your journey personal. You create a unique story that belongs only to you. This story becomes a source of pride and inspiration. When doubt creeps in, you can look back at your documented progress to remind yourself of your strength. This personal history builds resilience because it's rooted in your own experience. It's proof that you can change, learn, and overcome. The habit of tracking growth teaches patience. Change takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. This habit helps you see that progress is a process. It helps you develop the patience to stay committed even when results aren't immediate. Patience is a key ingredient in building belief in yourself. It reminds you that every step forward matters, no matter how small. Tracking your growth also prepares you for bigger challenges ahead. When you have evidence of past progress, you approach new obstacles with confidence. You know you have the ability to learn and improve. This confidence reduces anxiety and boosts your willingness to act. It makes you more resilient because you have proof you can handle tough situations. Paying attention to your growth keeps you connected to your purpose. When you see how far you've come, you feel more motivated to keep moving toward your goals. This connection fuels passion and commitment. It reminds you why you started and what you are working toward. Purpose combined with visible growth creates unstoppable momentum. In the end, tracking growth is about creating a habit of self-awareness and appreciation. It's a practice that shows you the truth of your progress. This truth builds belief in yourself that cannot be shaken by doubt or setback. It reminds you daily that you are changing, improving, and becoming someone stronger. This belief is the foundation for achieving cool things and living a life full of meaning.